I just got back from Man of Steel and I was really happy to see a visceral, in-your-face Superman movie. But seeing it in IMAX, I kind of feel like Kal-El, like every sound was a cannon going off. Do you think this is how Superman feels? Something tells me there's a lot less blood with him. My younger sister, who devours comic books, movies, and animation as much as I do, was the first one who introduced me to DC's animation. When I first saw Justice League Unlimited, I thought to myself, that's the way comic book action should be shown. But as much as their animation department is untouchable, DC still has a lot to learn when it comes to their live-action films. Like balancing Krypton and Earth, it seemed that Zack Snyder was the man to balance the best of both worlds. Snyder not only brought us the only other well-made DC movie that isn't Batman or Superman, but all this guy does is super kinetic action and stunning visuals. And let me tell you, the action sequences in this movie are by far the best part of this film, as they are palpable, powerful, and you feel every single punch. Although that might have been the arrhythmia that the IMAX sound system caused. oh, there it goes! Snyder and his cinematographer since Sucker Punch also seem to study at the J.J. Abrams School of Filmmaking. More lens flare? Okay, now shake the camera, shake it! Well, we wouldn't expect anything less from Snyder, but what about the rest of the movie? One thing I could really tell is how much of an influence Christopher Nolan really had on this story. Rightfully so. I mean, he put DC Entertainment back on the map. The narrative structure of this origin story is very similar to Batman Begins, which both he and screenwriter David S. Goyer worked on previously. There are a lot of flashbacks, and we go back and forth between different points in Clark's past and the present. But the story and narrative were not perfect. I got the impression the film was supposed to be a lot longer. Why do I feel that? Because the story, even though it had the Nolan-Goyer touch, really didn't flow at all. It really seemed to need an editor's finesse, because huge chunks of the story would jump forward with no natural progression. There was a literal personification of that in one of the characters. This is Major Carrie Ferris. Why am I telling you that? Because you never hear her name. Suddenly, 2/3 of the way through the movie, she's talking like she's the most important character, and like she's been there all along. Meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself, who the crap are you? Clark's, or specifically Kal-El's, backstory is very well developed, and you get to see a lot of Krypton that you really haven't seen on film before. Although there were creatures on Krypton that made me think they're in the same solar system as Avatar. Another one of my favorite parts of the film is you really get to know both his human and his Kryptonian parents, and see the pivotal relationship he has with both his fathers. As much as I liked Russell Crowe as Jor-El, who does get to kick a little ass before he launches his baby's escape pod, Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent was great, and in a very short amount of screen time has the most poignant scenes. But to no surprise in a Snyder film, the For the Win is related to the visual. Alex McDowell, who's worked on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Watchmen, and James Akeson, did some beautiful, imaginative work, both as production designer and costume designer, respectively. Everything in this movie, and remember, there are some far-out alien outfits and technology within the mythology of Superman, seemed real and tangible. And so these two talented artists are Man of Steel's For the Win. While we're on the subject, my last little tirade has to do with the mythology. And the best way I can put it is, the comic book action geek in me loved this movie. But the Superman purist had some issues. The other thing that seemed Nolan-esque was playing a little bit with the characters. Now, I don't mind making Perry African-American. It's progressive, and it's great, especially when it's played by Lawrence Fishburne. But here's a scene from Batman. So, I know you're Bruce Wayne. What? How could you? Well, you only told your butler, your girlfriend who died, sorry about that, that cat burglar, she was kind of hot, that young cop found out, the police commissioner, oh yeah, and there's an entire society of evil, vengeful ninjas that know your secret. Oh, yeah. And here's a scene from the new Superman. Spoiler alert. So I tracked you down because basically I researched all the stories about superhuman abilities, and basically I know he was Clark Kent before I know he was Superman. How did you... Oh, I don't know, because I'm good at my job. That was my biggest complaint, that some things just needed to remain untouched. Now I get it. It shows that Lois is smart, she's good at her job, and she's trustworthy. But is anybody's secret identity safe anymore? What is safe is the bet that yes, this is a solid comic book film. It is the dark, edgy, and hard-hitting Superman film we've always been waiting for. And it's an earn it. All I can say is if you think about the movie too much, you'll spoil it, so just enjoy the ear-bleeding ride. Come to think of it, why were there like 6 military characters in that stupid... Anyways, poll question. What is your favorite origin story? Doesn't have to be comic book. As always, leave your answers in the comment section below. But until next time, school's out.